Everyone has a phone case for a reason.
That's a reckless person,
You
isn't
see
it?
everyone with a phone case for a very, very good reason, especially iPhones. You know, if you drop a naked iPhone from it's finished.
Goodbye.
So it's funny you should
Kissing
say this
goodbye.
because I have a very good friend of mine. He didn't have a phone case for like 3 years that I knew him, and like he had a red iPhone. He would take it out, and he'd be holding it like this
I
and
remember
stuff.
you
And I was just like, "What are you like?" I felt like I went to twist upon twist, where nothing is as it seems. Perfect for fans of Frida McFadden or Alice Feely. Jasmine and Stephanie are two women who appear to have nothing in common. That is, until they board the same flight and disappear not long after. A few days later, they resurface, sending cryptic messages about both having met the same handsome stranger called Trent McCarthy and are running away with him. How are these women connected? And what has Trent done with them? Or what have they done with him? I really do enjoy a psychological thriller. If I finish a book with my underwear dry, I consider that a wasted opportunity. So I really was excited when I read the blurb for this book because I said this.
Well, I was just about to ask you, did you read the blurb? I didn't read the blurb again.
I did read
but
the
reading
blurb.
the blurb is purposely trying to mislead you now, isn't it?
100%. And this one.
Pause this video right now. Go and read The Business Trip by
Jessie Garcia. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library.
But yeah, so the blurb is trying to make out that there's two women who are dating the same guy when it's not
that
the
never
case.
Occurs.
Yeah, that never does happen. And this is why I don't read the blurb.
Trent shouldn't have been in the book. He had no purpose in the book, actually.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it. How many do you have, by the way?
I've got 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pulling my weight
I've
these
got
days.
4. I got 4, and I actually merged 2 into 1 because I thought you're not gonna have much for this.
Fair enough.
Mine are long anyway.
I try to hit 6. If I can't, I'll
Look
do 5.
at it.
Do 4.
Look how long that was 1.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I think I was gonna let you talk for that long. I was gonna cut you off.
Well,
Good point, Elijah.
Since you got more,
Start doing mine.
Since you got more, don't we normally talk about what we think of the book?
Yeah, spoiler free. Why don't we talk about what we thought of the book overall?
Don't do it. Waste of time.
So you did see my notes. Yeah, no, it was a waste of
The
time.
author needs. She's a woman. Is it a woman?
I hope so.
Is it a woman?
I hope
What's
so.
the name?
Jessie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she needs a slap.
100%. Yeah, I think waste of time is the perfect way to summarize it. Just because. Anyway, we'll get into it.
Confusing and a waste of time.
I like things so far. The characters are good enough. Jasmine is in an abusive relationship with her husband Glenn, and Stephanie is divorced and bored, essentially. In the context of the story, both women are crying out for a man to step into their lives. And here's kind of where I was thinking, okay, Trent's going to come in, he's going to be like the evil mastermind, etc., etc. He's going to be the creepy guy, seduces them one by one sort of thing. We didn't get any of that.
So that's what you wanted?
That's what I wanted. I was like, I want that. It's a psychological thriller, you know? It's only as good as your villain.
Boo-hoo. Jasmine is a whole sob story. Her childhood was terrible. She grew up poor. She had no friends. Her mother regularly bullied her by nicknaming her Piggy. And now in the current day, her life is still shit. She's trapped living with her abusive boyfriend who regularly beats her up. He also is controlling. He forces sex whenever he wants. I know, right? Terrible. No man should ever have to force it. I very much enjoyed the first chapters of this book. Well, I should say that Jasmine's point of view, her carrying out the escape plan, Jasmine had been sneakily saving her tip money, which was to go towards a fresh start. She was going to run away from her abusive boyfriend. She waited till he had taken his very strong painkillers that usually knocks him out for the whole night and made her escape by creeping out. It was a great scene by the author. It was filled with tension as the cupboards creaked and Nick, the boyfriend, stirred in his sleep. The genius is that these type of scenes get us, the readers, behind the characters immediately. Us good people are always going to side with the victim woman who gets beats from the big bad man. And also, you know me, I always give extra points for a stealth mission. So, you know, her creeping out, trying not to creep the stairs or whatnot, it got me going. So, yeah, it was a tap-in from the author. You know, the abusive boyfriend wasn't original, but it was effective. Maybe the scene could have been improved if the boyfriend did actually wake up. It would have created more tension for us readers. But one thing I would question the author on is why we never get to see the boyfriend ever again after this. The story went left after this scene. You'd expect the creepy stalking boyfriend to move heaven and earth to find Jasmine. Do you co-sign the direction that the book went in, Joseph?
No, because like you can't. I find it's really unrealistic when you just eliminate whole characters like that and they're just not.
He was something. And you know
Yeah.
what? He actually was something throughout the... Remember how creepy he was? He'd go up to her friends and go bang, bang in their
Yeah,
face.
see,
Like, there was a
effort into his
build-up.
personality. There's been, effort
You
has been
expect to
put.
see something.
100%. One thing I will say though, Cookie, before you go on, is that it's nice to see author scoring tap-ins for once rather than missing them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because it's
exactly.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
we should be talking about that more often.
Exactly. I wrote, and I've just thought of something actually. I don't know if you remember, but when the boyfriend finally did wake up, he obviously calls Jasmine to see where she is. Jasmine says that she went to the shop to get the milk. Used that excuse before. It's a classic excuse. She said she went to the shop to get the milk and things for dinner. She said to him that when he gets home from work, she's going to have a beautifully cooked steak waiting for him. One, that would make me rage thinking about that steak all day long. To come home and the woman's gone and the cupboard's cleared and there's no steak.
Ridiculous.
And two, if he's going to work all day, then why didn't she just make her escape then? Was the author trying to force some tension into her story with the sneaking out in the early hours of the morning? Does that deduction undo the good work of her first chapter?
Yeah, she spent all book undoing the goodness of her first chapter, to be fair. But one thing I will say is, I would never allow my woman to cook my steak for me.
Yeah,
Only
that's
I'm
true.
allowed
Yeah,
to cook
exactly.
my
That
own
is
steak.
that is
So
so
hell,
true.
So that is just
She
ridiculous.
cooks everything else, but the steak, she's never cooked steak for me,
You're
and
not
she
touching
never
that.
will.
100%.
Yeah. Did you see my steak from last night?
Oh, of course.
Banging.
Yeah,
it
nah,
was
for
like
sure.
it was
For sure.
so rare. It was so close to being blue.
Do you ever think about like how you used to cook steaks before the Great Revolution? And it's
try
just
not
like,
to.
Oh god,
I try not to.
Just a grey steak.
Yeah. Oh, I saw some ones from. I'm talking about
Snapchat
5
memories.
years ago.
Snapchat
Oh, it was
memories.
terrible. No sear,
Oh,
and it
God.
was well done. It was terrible.
I saw one that wasn't even well done. It was congratulations.
Anyway,
The whole Mark R thing feels like a MacGuffin. Are you aware of what a MacGuffin is, Elijah? It's a thing or device in a movie or book that serves merely as a trigger for the plot. Like the Philosopher's Stone in Harry Potter. If it's there so Voldemort can steal it, and if Voldemort didn't want to steal it, it would be largely unimportant in and of itself. So Stephanie and her friend Lucy referred to Avengers star Mark Ruffalo as Mark R. Something that seems like it was only put in the story so that when Lucy sends Stephanie a text regarding moving a meeting with Mark R, and she was making a joke, she responds incorrectly and lets Lucy know something is not quite right. I don't know anybody who refers to their favourite celebrities in this way, Mark R or anything like that. I've never heard of this, but it just seems perfectly set up so that she could make a joke and then whoever has Stephanie's phone can reply, oh, it must be a real Mark R.
A clever sort of
It was
thing.
supposed to be a clever thing, but it's just like, I don't know if that's clever because no one does that. It's a very forced situation.
It's better when it's forced.
That's what Nick said. No, Clinton, sorry, Clinton.
Oh, I think I named him Nick, actually. I don't know. How many bloody POVs are there? Is the author trying to confuse us? Jasmine, Stephanie, Anna, Glenn, Robert, Bruce, Dave, Lucy, Trent, Bill. That's ridiculous. 10 point of views? Yeah. Why? I want to say
2 is like
3 is the absolute maximum, and it better be a damn good reason
why. And it better be one-off, like a one-off chapter where you just get a POV.
At the end, yeah. I wanted to say that this book had no filler, but you don't put 10 POVs in your story when you have a lot of content. You start cutting pointless things, not adding them. The only POVs that we actually gained from was Jasmine, Stephanie, and Trent. And really and truly, the Stephanie point of view that we gained from was really Jasmine pretending to be Stephanie. Also, Trent's POV for the most part went on, and we had no idea where it was going. It felt like another pointless POV. I think the Trent POV needed to come earlier into the book. We needed to believe that it was actually a romance that we were finding out about, which would have made Trent POV feel less pointless. By the time Trent POV came around, we already knew something was going on with Stephanie, and it wasn't romance related. So it took some of the mystery out of the equation and added boredom instead. Not good at all. The worst thing is that this story isn't just confusing and mostly boring, but it's completely far-fetched and unbelievable too. Get a load of this. Jasmine, the girl we're rooting for, she's just escaped her violently abusive boyfriend. She's terrified, desperate, on the run, and somehow manages to get herself on the plane, right? She sits down next to a woman called Stephanie who looks identical to her. Like the flight attendant says, you two could be sisters. Yep. You're identical. Coincidence? Wait, it gets worse. Stephanie just so happens to be travelling alone to a place where nobody knows her. Just so happens to leave her ID somewhere where Jasmine can easily steal it. Just so happens to have written down all her passwords, including bank info. Oh yeah, and her bank accounts absolutely filled to the brim with cash. How convenient! So pointless POVs, added in with an absolutely unbelievable plot, makes for a cocktail of frustration, eye rolls, and secondhand embarrassment. It's like the author threw the realism out the window and hoped we wouldn't notice or care. Which do you think it was?
Care.
Yeah,
And the reason why I say
you
care
can't
is
not
because
see that.
you can't not see it. And I read some reviews, and the reviews were basically saying we don't care. The review that I read, this woman wrote a review on the book that I found online, and she was like, I get that you have to kind of suspend your realism. She was just coming up with all these like backwards ways to be like, oh, you know, Jasmine's so wicked and selfish. I love it. I love when the villain, you know, I wanted the villain to win, sort of thing. And I think she wanted her readers to focus more
on the experience.
Not on the experience, but more on the fact that Trent's this creepy guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't even
He
that
wasn't
creepy.
that creepy, but that's what I'm getting from the reviews. The reviews are like, he's creepy, he should go to prison, the sort of
I
thing.
don't think there's a single thing he did wrong in the whole book.
All he did was like not take no for an answer. That's pretty much all
And
he did.
he didn't get a no.
Yeah,
he never
yeah,
got
yeah.
a no. He just got these subtle, maybe another time.
You're
He never
supposed
got
to,
a no.
But what they say is consent should be enthusiastic and ongoing. And he didn't get that. Therefore, that's a no. In today's world, that's what no is. Consent
There's a lot of
is
shy women
enthusiastic.
out there, you know.
Is what it is.
Fair enough.
Got to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Consent should be enthusiastic and ongoing.
And ongoing. So it's like, if you get an enthusiastic yes once and the rest of her replies are like dead, then that's not consent. This is a guideline to how not to get arrested for rape. Trent is a news producer from Atlanta attending the same conference as Stephanie. He meets Stephanie and takes a liking to her despite her attempts at rebuffing him. After leaving her hotel room, Trent goes back to Atlanta, goes to a bar, and there he meets Jasmine. Disappointing. So there was no mastermind attempt to draw both women out into the jaws of danger, it was just blind luck. I'm not against having blind luck in stories, but as usual, less is more. And when you're an omnipotent god in full control of creating an entire universe, or an author as we like to call them, your excuses for relying on luck are few and far between. So this is kind of where I was like, oh, this is going to be shit, isn't it? Because I was still thinking Trent is going to be this, you know, villainous kind of Ben from We Play Games sort of character who's going to be this diabolical, and he was just some guy, man. He was actually just some guy.
Yeah, the direction that this author went in. I mean, I guess we were taken because Jasmine was really the bad.
I'm not against like setting one person up to be the villain, having it another. I'm not against that. That's totally cool. It's all good, but it's all in the execution. I definitely don't mind the direction we went in regarding the villain. I just don't like how we got there.
Despite everything I said about this book, I actually am starting to enjoy the story. One of the stronger moments was the way the author revealed that Jasmine had gone through with her plan and was now living under Stephanie's identity. The POV then shifts to Trent, a new character who flirts with Stephanie at the business convention. Trent is confident, self-absorbed, and relentless. No matter how many polite rejections he gets, he keeps trying. It felt like the author wanted us to root for Trent. Or was that just me?
That's just me.
Did you like Trent, or was I alone in that?
I definitely don't think the author wanted us to root for Trent. I think the author wanted us to vilify him and like.
She did a terrible job of that.
The author wanted us to feel for the women who are like being harassed, let's say. And he's not supposed to be a likable character, I don't think.
Yeah, of course not.
But it just goes to show how, you know, men and women have such different perspectives on stuff.
I mean, he was the good guy in the story.
He definitely wasn't the bad guy.
Then the POV shifts back to Jasmine, and now we get to relive the day from her perspective. Now understanding that all of Stephanie's strange behaviour earlier was just actually Jasmine awkwardly adjusted to her new stolen identity. That moment of dual perspective actually worked well. This is where the book went really left. Jasmine was supposed to be the victim, a vulnerable woman on the run, not a double murderer. Not to mention she went on to frame Trent for her murder too.
Yep.
3 lives ruined by her because they revealed the time skip of her back in the day when she
murdering
killed.
that girl.
They just randomly
And
put that
was
time
Raven
skip.
was back then as well, and then she like kept a secret, and it was
just
I don't
so
know, random
weird.
time skip. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Random time skip.
With 10 other POVs too.
Yeah. Come on.
So yeah, as I said, the writing went left. Sorry, the book went left, and also the writing. That reminds me, the book was monologue heavy. Lots of I did this, then I did that. I pinched the ID card. When a book leans too heavily on first person monologue, like I did this and I did that, it can start to feel like a list of events rather than an immersive experience. That style of writing often tells us what's happening, but not why it matters. You don't get much subtext, tension, or layered character insight, just surface level action. So, yeah, what would you say to the author about the direction of the story? And if she sought out your advice, what would you say? And did you enjoy the writing style?
Write a better book. So that would be my advice. And the reason why I say that is because...
Is this book salvageable?
Yeah, no, it's salvageable. Because the
Okay.
story is it's a solid template for a story. It's a solid story, you know. Two women go abroad, whatever, they go missing, whatever. You think it's this guy, it's that guy. That's a solid plot. But I just think there's too much coincidence, too much convenience, too much random shit happening that could have easily not happened.
Two women going on a trip disappearing is a plot by itself.
Yeah,
Doppelganger is one
Do you
plot by
understand what I'm
itself.
saying? The whole doppelganger shit, get rid of that. Get rid of all of that. Because like, that's
And the
too
two wo-
supernatural.
And then you got one woman pretending to be another woman. This isn't even doppelganger. This is one woman stealing the identity of this other woman. That's a story on it by itself. We've got three stories by
we've got
themselves.
3 stories and none of them are complete. But what I think is the whole stolen identity thing, you don't need doppelganger for that because no one knew her at the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't need doppelganger for that whatsoever.
It's a doppelganger.
Oh, it's just
Double
it was
doppelgangers.
ridiculous. Ridiculous inside job. The twist is shit! If you thought the story had been convenient so far, just wait. The story takes us back to the day of the flight. Jasmine and Stephanie happen to be sitting in the same row, where a woman remarks on how similar they look. This gives Jasmine a brilliant idea. Follow Stephanie back to her hotel room and kill her, as you would. She follows Stephanie on her second flight, trails her to her hotel room, and kills her. Then she finds Stephanie's laptop password on a post-it note, which she uses to break into her financial accounts. Then, and here's where it gets really batshit insane, she dresses up as her and makes an appearance at the conference as Stephanie. So like you said, we've got 3 different stories in one, and we can clearly see this because Trent was supposed to be the villain, and if he's not the villain, he's supposed to have some manner of significance to the story.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have either. Yeah. He's just some guy that he's in a blurb, and he's not an important character. Didn't make that make sense.
I think they just used him to carry the narrative. They didn't have any other tool, so they had to use
MacGuffin.
Yeah. The ending. Where do I even begin? It honestly felt that the author was determined to destroy any lingering sense of Jasmine's innocence. First, she spikes Trent's drink, which in today's climate is a pretty controversial choice, especially with a woman as the perpetrator. There was no real reason for Jasmine to ruin Trent's life like that. It wasn't self-defense. It wasn't strategic. It just felt like she did it because she could, and that left a salty taste in my mouth. But the author wasn't finished. Just when you think things couldn't get more ridiculous, we're hit with another twist. Stephanie was never actually Stephanie. Turns out the real Stephanie hired a doppelganger to go on her work trip for her because she wanted a day off.
Off that random website.
A
that
day
woman told him about.
off. That's the explanation we're given. If the author thought that this was a clever reason for why Stephanie had her passwords written down, because it was for the doppelganger, of
that's what
course,
it's for.
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Did the doppelganger need Stephanie's passwords for her banking details, giving her access to tens of thousands of dollars?
Why does she have her phone?
Why
does she have your phone?
I smell a plot hole. Even the doppelganger plot was a complete mess. Even if you'd hired somebody that looked like you, they'd still travel on their own passport. Why risk breaking federal law just to trick a few colleagues at a work convention who's never even met you in person?
Why don't you just book a holiday, dumb bitch?
Which brings us to the next plot hole. Why would Stephanie need a doppelganger at all if nobody at the convention knew what she looked like? She could have just skipped it entirely and no one would know the difference. Or she could have just got anybody to go if it was really that big of a deal. Plot holes after plot holes after plot holes. This book is a plot hole bukkake. Plot holes everywhere. Plot holes are covering the face of this book.
Ridiculous.
So, you know what I'm going to ask you, don't you, Joseph?
Yeah.
Do you think that the author thought she was cooking when she wrote in the doppelganger plot?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, she thought she was cooking.
I've got it.
Let me cook.
This is what's going to end the book. I know how I'm going to end the book.
She said, this is why I make the big bucks. Another doppelganger. Ridiculous. It's the only way you could have made it worse as well. Another doppelganger. Like, this whole doppelganger. So you're telling me inside, like, what I assume is an 8 or 9 hour flight, She went on this website that she was randomly heard about in passing, found a woman that looks exactly like her, managed to arrange for this woman to meet her where she was going, handed over all the details to her identity, even her phone. You don't have your phone on you. Because remember, if the doppelganger didn't have the phone, how would Jasmine have got it?
It was just,
You even gave her your phone and all your banking details.
It's crazy.
How would it stole your identity too?
it's crazy.
What the hell? Your bank has full of money.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
What about Trent, I hear you ask? Trent is an unwitting pawn in all of this. It's Jasmine returning Stephanie's text and decides to set Trent up to take the fall. After all, he's a creep, right? He deserves to go to prison for the rest of his life for a double homicide that he didn't commit. Because bearing in mind, they found Jasmine's DNA at his house and Stephanie's DNA, and they're both gone. So, like, she actually tried to set this guy up for double
No, but
homicide.
I realised quite quickly that he would never get done for that because, first of all, when they see her go into Atlanta, whatever, they would see the seat that she booked and it was never next to his.
Yeah,
They'd
that's
see
true.
that the CCTV doesn't show them going through together. So he would be like, mate, like, I've not seen this girl, I don't know what's going on, but there's literally no
DNA's
evidence.
in my house, though.
Yeah.
So we know she was at your house.
Well, you know her DNA.
DNA was
yeah,
at his
yeah,
house,
yeah.
yeah.
So, it was, is that you done?
I've got one more. Are you done?
I've got a question of the day.
Why don't you
Go
do your
back.
question? I'll do my last one then.
Question of the day. Here's some backstory. I went for a job interview the other day and the boss pulled out his phone to show me something. I don't know what the iPhone it was, but it had like 3 or 4 cameras, so you know it was a fairly new one. And it would have been quite expensive. Anyway, he slid his phone out of his pocket, and it had no phone case on it.
Oh,
He was just using it naked.
using it raw.
Now, to me,
Disgusting.
that's a red flag. I don't even know if I want to work for you
Yeah.
at this point, after clearly finding out that you're
I
reckless.
call the police.
Obviously, I pulled him up on the lack of a phone case, and I said to him, mate, put the phone down. It felt like the scene in Avengers, you know, when they told Dr. Banner to
Yeah,
put the
put down the
scepter
scepter.
scepter down. Seeing him just holding the phone was giving me anxiety. I said to him, brother, you have to have the protective cover on. I learnt my lesson the hard way. Last time I took the cover off, I became a dad.
Yeah, that's it.
So, but it had me thinking, if that was your friend on a date and they told you about this, would you advise against dating somebody like that, or is it not a big deal?
I think it is quite a big. It's quite a big deal because
Is it? So it's a red flag, is what you're
I
saying?
think it's an orange flag. It's an orange flag, is what I'll say, because people think these sorts of things aren't a big deal, but everyone has a phone case for a reason.
That's a reckless person,
You see,
isn't it?
everyone with a phone case for a very, very good reason, especially iPhones. You know, if you drop a naked iPhone from
finished.
it's finished.
Goodbye.
So it's funny you
Kiss
should
me
say this
goodbye.
because I have a very good friend of mine. He didn't have a phone case for like 3 years that I knew him, and like he had a red iPhone. He would take it out and he'd be holding it like this
Oh, yeah, I
and
remember
stuff.
you said-
And I was just like, what are you like? I felt like I went to confiscate of him for the phone's greater good. But no, that is. I don't know, man. You don't care about your life.
So you're saying it's not actually a red flag all the way?
I wouldn't say it's a red flag. I think
it more of a
a red flag is like it's quite a serious.
I think that is quite
accusation.
serious. If he can't commit to a phone case, how's he going to commit to you?
If you don't care about your phone, why would you care about me?
Surely that's not somebody you could, you know, give a child to, you know, to look after. It's not somebody.
What? Because if the phone's not damaged, but then again, if you just not taking precautions in and of itself is a bad sign, isn't it?
Surely.
Because you should know you can't account for everything.
So okay, you're just trusting gravity. You know, it'll be all right.
Listen, you can only trust gravity to do one thing: work. So if you drop that phone,
So you're saying it's not a red flag? Is that more of a consideration, more or less of a consideration if you meet somebody who has a child?
wait, say that again.
Is that more or less of a red flag than it's somebody who has a child?
Oh, it's got to be less of a red flag. Come on.
Not having a phone case is less. So having a child is more of a problem.
Well, yeah, you have to say so. You'd have to say so. You have to. It's what it is. It's what it is.
Fair enough.
Don't
All right.
cancel me.
All right. Well, you go for your last one.
That was a good question, though. Well done. I answered one. See? Oh, and Stephanie's alive. Just as Jasmine is about to flee into the sunset with her ill-gotten gains, the police arrive and tackle her. As it turns out, her partner in crime, Raven, has turned her in. There, officer! Her! Get her! What's even worse, Stephanie had apparently hired a doppelganger to pretend to be her so that she can enjoy a real holiday. So it was the doppelganger, Diana, who Jasmine murdered that day. This is, of course, the most convenient thing that's ever happened in the history of convenience. There just happens to be a third person who looks exactly like Stephanie and Jasmine. I trust they're all long-lost triplets, right? It's crazy because Stephanie was being hunted by a maniac and she hired someone to pretend to be her, so much so as to give her her own personal phone, but those two facts aren't connected. They have nothing to do with one another. She accidentally hired a doppelganger while she's been hunted by a maniac. She didn't do it to hide, she just did it randomly. So it just left a terrible taste in the mouth.
I think if you're going to have a doppelganger slid into the story, which you should never do.
Never do that.
It needs to be the main event. The doppelganger is the main part of the story.
That's got to be what the book's about.
Yeah,
the book
exactly.
Doppelganger.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's like trying to slide in time travel. You just can't do it. You can't. It's too big of a.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to be
too big of a coincidence.
It's too big of a coincidence. And the fact that you heard about this, you got access to doppelganger from this random website that no one's ever heard of, nobody will ever find ever again. But you heard about in passing, managed to, inside like 5 or 6 hours, managed to find someone who looks exactly like you and the woman who you accidentally was sitting next to on the plane. Just burn this book, right? Burn it.
I think it's a bit pointless me asking you this, but would you recommend
1 star?
Would you recommend the book?
If you want to have a laugh, I'd recommend it. Because it did make me, the convenience did make me laugh. I was actually laughing, but it wasn't like it wasn't a good laugh.
You wasn't laughing with it. You was laughing at
I
it.
wasn't laughing with it. It wasn't funny. If I could give this book less than 1 star, I would.
Just say, if you can, anything that you liked about the book, if there was any good things.
I feel like everything was just ruined. Everything was just ruined. But the ending was just ruined. I feel like with these psychological thriller mystery sort of books, if you do not stick the landing, it ruins the whole book.
All right, so just, you said that out of the 2 books, you would read this again if you had to. That's what you said.
No, I didn't. I said I'd read the other one.
All right, but you said this was a better book.
Yeah, technically it was a better book.
Remember, you rated this book a 1 star.
Yeah.
Cool. So when the next book comes along, it has to be a 0 star.
If I could give this book 0, I would. Bearing in mind,
But
when I say before all of that, I said I would burn
also
both.
listening.
I said I'd burn both books that we read. So I'm just saying, like, I'm not team other book. You keep trying to make. I'm not team other book.
No, but I'm saying you got to rate the other book lower than this. If you're rating this one 1 star and you said this is a better book.
Well, you're saying that, but first point is the 5-star rule, or it's flawed anyways. And we've said this.
The 5-star rule. The 5-star rule is like using your flannel for your whole body. That's what it's like. You wash your balls. You wash your balls with your flannel, and you wash your face. And you forget about it tomorrow. That's like the 5-star rule. You rate this book and you forget about this whatever rating you did, and you give your next book.
Well, I will be forgetting about this book when we do the next one then. But what's interesting is that we've had like some great books and had said they're 4 stars, and had some shit books and said they're 3 stars. So like, doesn't make any sense.
So yeah. And on that note, it's time to end.
It is time to end. Should we end your quote of the day?
Yes. The end. Do you have a quote of the day?
You didn't have one.
No.
Yeah, I've got one.
I thought you knew I didn't have one.
I should have known. Quote of the day. You don't drown by falling in water. You drown by staying there. I think that's semi-decent.
No, that was good. Till next time.
Till next time.